Hi everyone, it's Kaylee here. I know no one really knows my channel because I just started it and I'm kind of new at this whole thing. So I really hope you can bear with me while I try to figure this whole thing out because I haven't really had any main ideas. But right now, I want to talk to you guys about something that's really important to me and something that happened to me in my past. So, please bear with me because I haven't really thought much about how I'm going to explain it because it's a pretty long story. I'm not too sure how long this video will be, so I hope you can bear with me on it. So basically, I was in elementary school and my father had left when I was a baby. He had gotten in a fight with my mom, I think, and he ended up dropping me and my brother and sister off at the daycare and left our car seat right outside the daycare. Sorry, I'm a bit sick right now, so anyway. So he hadn't contacted us for like 12 or so years, and we knew nothing about where he was, what he was doing. We just didn't know anything about him. I didn't even really know his name. So when I was about in 5th grade, he Facebook messaged my older brother. And I can't remember what that message said, but it was something along the lines of wanting to get back in our lives. And I thought that was really weird because we haven't heard a peep from him since then. Or like before then. And well, that just took me by surprise because I was in the store with my mom and she heard about it. And then like days passed and he ended up getting in contact with my older sister. And well, long story short, my sister and him would talk constantly, but I hadn't really talked to him because at one point I wasn't ready to because I was still confused by the whole situation. I was too young to understand it. And so it took about a few months before I actually talked to him for the first time. And so, basically, when I first got in contact with him, I thought that everything was great and I wanted to get to know him. And then I met him for the first time at a park. And me and my older sister sat on the bench because my older brother didn't really want anything to do with him. He was just done with him pretty much. And so me and my older sister sat at a bench park with him. And I felt kind of uneasy because I knew nothing of the man. I only knew that he abandoned us. And I knew that he wasn't a very good man at the like when he was with my mom and they were married. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but he has schizophrenia. And so basically that whole meeting went fine. I felt somewhat comfortable with him at the end. But then, like, it was maybe a few weeks later, he was staying at my mother's friend's house because my mother's friend knew him and that's the only place he could stay or could find where he could stay. And well, I had spent the night there with my sister. We were maybe like I was maybe like 13 at the time. My sister's like only a few weeks older than me, so she was like 14 at the time. And so I remember feeling like really uncomfortable because it was that night and he had tried to like give me to sleep in the same room as him with my sister. And I didn't really like that idea, so I ended up sleeping in the room with my mother's friend's son because me and that son were pretty close. And I slept on this chair that he had in the room. So it's not like I slept in the same bed or like he had bunk beds or anything. And the son actually had an older brother, which will come later and maybe in like another video. And so, basically, before I was about to go to bed, he came to kiss me goodnight, but only on the lips, which made me feel really uncomfortable. So I refused to do it, and he ended up kissing me on the cheek. And then I went to bed. My father and my sister went to bed in the living room, and they had like 2 pull-up beds or something like that. And so then about a month passed, and I was there again, and basically the layout of the living room was the couch was facing maybe like this way, and then the kitchen was this way. And so everyone else that was in the house was in the kitchen, and my dad was sitting on the couch. And he tried to pull me onto his lap and like hold me there, but I really didn't want to, and I clearly showed I didn't want to. But he made me do it anyway, and I just felt really uncomfortable about the situation. So then when my mom came to pick us up, I didn't even say goodbye because I was just really uncomfortable. And after that day, I kind of stopped contacting him. And something that will be maybe one of my stories down the line, you'll learn that I have depression and what I went through. And my whole depression thing kind of started when he came back. And one of the second meeting that I had with him, we were at Cece's Pizza, and he looked straight at me and was like, "You need to watch where you eat, because fatness runs in my family and you look like you're gonna get there." And that just made me like feel really upset, because it was basically like my own father that I haven't known that long was calling me fat. And I was bullied in elementary school pretty bad, to where I had 0 friends throughout elementary school. Like, I didn't really have one single friend. Maybe I had one, but then me and her had a fallout, which I'll talk to you about in another video. Sorry, there's a lot of things in my life that, yeah, it comes in different orders. But anyway, he pretty much called me fat, and that was like the last straw for me, because I heard it all throughout elementary school. And I gotta remind you, I was in like 5th grade, so that's not really something a kid would want to hear. So I kind of just started watching what I eat, but then like everything bottling up with my dad, and then the kids at school treating me badly, like really bad, I developed an eating disorder. I had anorexia and bulimia. Like, I wouldn't eat for a long time, but then when I would eat, I'd immediately like throw it back up. So, yeah, I developed an eating disorder. And then when I was in middle school, like, I started self-harming. I'm not going to go into details in case it triggers anyone, because I really don't want to do that. But if you guys want to hear about all that and what was going through my head and hear the whole story, then just let me know. Leave a comment down below, and I'll tell you about it. I'll just leave a trigger warning. And anyway, so yeah, that whole thing went down. So when I was in middle school, I was in a really, really bad place. And like, it was to the point where I just felt completely alone, like I couldn't talk to anyone. So one of my good friends in middle school that I had made, I'm not going to name her name because I don't want to give away any privacy. So, she noticed that I was self-harming along with another friend. And those were like 2 of my really good friends. And so one of them, I'm gonna name her Anne. she went to the counselor and told her about it. And then I was put in the counselor while Anne was still in there, and they confronted me about it. And then Anne looks at me and was like, "Can I see them?" So I showed her what I had been doing to myself. And she was completely distressed, and I really regret how I handled the whole situation, because I felt like she had turned on me because she had revealed my deepest secret, and I really regret completely how I treated her, because now I realize she was doing what she thought was right for me, and it really was right for me. She was doing a good thing. But then the counselor looked at her and was like, "This is not something that you should tell people. Like, you shouldn't get involved. You had no right to tell us." And I thought that that was really weird. Like, later on, like when I was thinking about it, so I was like, they shouldn't have told her that, because she was doing what was right, and she was being there for me, like being a really good friend. And when I found out that she had done that, and I had that whole confrontation, I just kind of got really mad at her, because I felt betrayed, and I really, really regret that, because she was one of my closest friends. We knew each other's secrets. We would have countless sleepovers. Like, she was like my sister. And so I hate how I treated her. And later on I realized she had problems of her own, yet she was still there for me and still tried to be there for me. And it's like, I'm sorry, it's like really hard to talk about because I'm not used to talking about this. But anyway, yeah, the whole confrontation went down, and I just kind of stopped talking to her because of how I felt about the whole situation. And me and her started being friends again, maybe around like 8th grade, because I was in 6th grade at the time. 6th or 7th. I think it was 6th. But a lot of stuff went down between 6th and 7th grade, and I was getting bullied like so much in middle school, and the teachers didn't really do anything about it. I'm not gonna name the schools, but yeah, I was getting bullied so bad to where it would be physical. Like, one boy, alright, so in the hallway between our classes, like, that boy's locker would be on top and mine was at the bottom. And so I was leaning down to get my stuff out of my locker. And then when I stood back up, he closed his locker on my head on purpose and laughed. And it hurt so bad. And just like stuff like that would happen to me all the time. And I never knew why I was such an outcast. I mean, I was always a quiet kid. I hardly ever talked. I stayed alone because everyone will always pick on me. And I just felt like I didn't belong. And so that really got to me. So when I was in 8th grade, the bullying had become so bad that my mom literally had to pull me out of school in 8th grade in the middle of the year, and well, had me do homeschooling for the rest of the year. And at that time, I was so done with school that I was so happy. Like, I was ecstatic that I'd be out of there. And my teachers didn't really understand why I had to go to homeschooling. Like, they just acted like everything should have been fine and, like, just peachy. And so that just kind of annoyed me. So when I was in high school, things got better, but there's this one incident when I was on the bus, and there's this Alright, so I was on the left side of the bus, kind of near the back. And then on the very right side of me, there was this guy. I'm not going to name his name. And, well, I'll just call him Mike. And, well, me and him had kind of gotten close. We talk every day on the bus, and we listen to music and share headphones and stuff. But I didn't think I was leading him on or anything. And I was always a shy kid. I'm still shy to this day, but I'm trying to break myself out of that. Hence why one of the reasons I made a YouTube channel. Anyway, so this guy, Mike, he had come into my seat, moved my book bag off of the seat. It was like middle of the year. And he moved my book bag off the seat, sat right next to me, and started touching me in places I didn't want to be touched. And he wouldn't stop until the bus came to a stop. And he lived in the same neighborhood as I did, maybe just a few blocks down. And so he kept touching me and kissing my neck until his stop came. And then when his stop came, he got up and gave me a little smile / smirk, and then walked off. And me being a non-confrontational person and being completely shy and just, I don't know, I was just one that wouldn't stand up for myself. So I was in therapy at the time. So one time on my way to therapy, my grandma was driving me, and I told her about it. And the very next day, she goes to the principal's office because me and her made a deal that I would tell the principal the next day. And so she goes to the principal's office herself. And once I get to the principal's office, she's already there talking to them. So they pull me into the office. In the office, there's the principal, vice principals, because my school had 3 vice principals, and then the what's it called? The policeman that comes to the school. I can't really remember what they're called. And so we're talking about it, and I told them everything that happened, and a few days later, I found out that they kicked him off the bus. But, they said that they weren't going to do any further action than that because they didn't have enough evidence, even though they had it on camera. And then they saw the whole incident on camera. So that really made me mad. I was like, so what if something happens like this again? Because I found out he'd done the same thing to my friends, only not on the bus, but in class. And so I was friends with 2 of the girls, and he'd done the same thing to them. Touched them and stuff, not the whole kissing part. So I was really frustrated. So one day in class, I was in chorus at the time, and I just started crying towards the end of the class because I didn't know what to do. And the other girl, she was my best friend in freshman year because she was a senior then. She was my best friend, and she pulls me into the hallway and hugs me and just starts comforting me. And that's the first time I actually felt like things will be okay. And yeah, it was just a really hard time. Because then Mike would start, harassing me in school. I won't say bullying because it goes beyond bullying. I don't really want to get in details what he would do. But then I found out my sister's friend, I'm going to name her Beth. She knew everything, and he had assaulted her too once when she was at his house. And I'm not going to go into details about that because that's her story to tell. But then I found out that she was thinking about dating him, and I felt completely betrayed because she wasn't just my sister's friend, she was my friend. And I just felt betrayed that she wouldn't think of doing that. And so, yeah, it was just, yeah, my school experience wasn't all that great. But I gotta admit, after sophomore year, or maybe it was junior year, it was sophomore year, things had gotten better because he had graduated. Because I was a freshman and he was a senior at the time. So he was out by the next year. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of part of my school life. So if you guys have any thoughts about it, just let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to either reply to you in the comments or make another video of me answering your questions. And I'm not scared of answering any questions that you guys have. So yeah, ask anything you want and I'll happily answer them. So I hope you liked it, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you.